Welcome back to the Best Damn Nerd Show. James Kincaid now alongside Professor Chris Davis. And Davis, I want to jump into the Witcher world again. You're a big fan of the video game series. I'm looking to jump into the video game series. I very much so enjoyed watching you play it, and I thoroughly enjoyed Henry Cavill's take as Geralt in the Netflix show, and I'm excited for season 2 of that. And in the lead up to it, we got this animated movie, which I scarcely knew was going to exist until a couple of weeks ago, and now it's out, and we both watched it. So let's talk The Witcher: Nightmare of the Wolf. And we watched the trailer. We both seem pretty excited for it. So did it deliver on your expectations?
I will say it did deliver, because I think as a Witcher fan, it's hard because there's a lot of source material with the written books. There's the games, so you have to have some sort of acceptance to that they're going to take some liberties. I believe. I do believe that. And when we talk about Star Wars and stuff like that, I think we can be kind of tight on that. And with this show, I didn't want to go into that with those feelings. So that said, I thought this was a fun, good movie. Was it perfect? Was it everything I wanted? No, but it was very fast paced. I will definitely say that. I mean, man, it was on the edge the whole time.
Yeah.
And the pacing of it was just super quick. Like, I understand that they wanted to do something different from a series. They did, a 80-minute movie. They could have broke this up and did a couple different movies if they wanted. They could have did a 8 Castlevania like 8 episode 20 minutes each and slowed it down a little bit and just had their time and built these characters out more.
I think if there is a critique of it, it's that they crammed a lot in one animated movie. That being said, I really enjoyed it. I encourage everybody to go out there and watch it. And I think one of the best compliments I can pay this movie is, as somebody that has not dived deep into the books in the video game series, is that this animated movie enhances the lore of the show. And it definitely lays more of the sort of foundation for the world that we're going to be back in when Henry Cavill in season 2 comes along. I think it helps with sort of some of the understanding. I don't know how accurate it is to the games and the books, but I definitely got the vibe from this that they are not really as concerned with that as much as they wanted this to be relating to the TV series. And in that objective, I think they succeeded. And in that objective, I think they enriched the world of the live action series through this animation.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's a hype movie.
Yes.
100%. And they delivered on that. Like, if you were kind of interested in The Witcher, wanted a little bit more, and you just need a little push to watch season 2, holy shit, yeah, you got it. Guess what? That was a lot of fun. That was very interesting. That was very cool.
Dude, the brutality in this from the beginning too. Like, I mean, right in the opening scene, with the lesions or whatever,
the Leshen
in the forest and stuff like that. That was crazy. And I know it just said that this enhanced the TV series, and it did, but it was almost to the detriment in the sense that the like amount of monsters and just sort of hard-hitting nature that they showed in this. That is a tough act for the live action series to now come back and sort of be almost pared down in terms of the things that they show.
That is the problem with this that I had, is that, and what we talked about with the trailer that I was hyped about, is that you can do so much with animation, and it's very cool and it's very clean. But when you bring that to a TV series, it's just not going to translate as well. And with The Witcher, you don't need a lot of that. I mean, there's so much lore, there's so many good characters and monsters that you can do that don't need the CG treatment that an anime movie like this can offer. And that's where it went too far, where I feel like it overpromised.
On what
for
the TV
what
series will be.
what the TV series could be. Like the problem is with this is you see all the Witcher signs that they use, especially the Igni, the flame power that they have.
Yeah.
None of these powers are as strong as what they showed in this.
That
It
that was gonna
is,
be my question, because like they were like the Green Lanterns at one point
yeah.
in this
I mean,
fucking show. Like when they were all like just shooting at like their little
yeah,
like pulse blasts out towards the end. I was like, what the like?
yeah,
I was like, why the fuck doesn't Henry Cavill do any of this?
yeah. No, it is so overpowered, and not only is it overpowered, is that when you use this stuff, it's very draining on you, especially as a mage, as a witcher. Like that's why they use their potions and all that, is because it can take that drain away from the body, and they're just using this like it's nothing, and it is based in the Witcher lore. That is the best I can say about this. Uh, but they just expand upon it to entertain, which is fine.
Yeah, okay. So you're saying they went a little overboard,
Yeah,
on the stuff. So I will offer a couple of things just going along with what they showed us in this. Is the overpowered level of let's start the monsters. Let's start with the monsters and why that maybe we won't be getting that level in the series. Just from a sort of lore logic jump to conclusions, Matt, here is they reveal in this movie that the Witcher Deglin himself and the mage were breeding crossbreed monsters to keep the Witchers sort of in business. So already monsters are kind of going extinct in this Netflix Witcher universe. So that is an explanation for why maybe we won't get as many and things of that nature. So they sort of explain that a little bit.
which is also false. It's in The Witcher. It's monsters are created because of curses. They're created because of spells. They're created because of battlefields.
And I like that better, way better.
Yeah, and so they're constantly being created. It's not like they're running out of monsters. They're constantly being creative. It's just, yes, there's less and less of them because there was numerous Witchers and there were numerous Witchers taking care of numerous jobs, so they're going quicker. And so yes, I understand like why like that storyline could make sense, but they weren't going anywhere. Like they were always going to be created.
Well, and now to your point too, is the Witcher's ranks have been decimated.
Right.
There should be even more monsters then, to your point.
Yeah,
and
they should be growing.
Overrun. Yeah, the numbers should be growing. However, maybe the fact that only Vesemir and the young Geralt and those few other Witchers remain, maybe that's why they don't have the fucking Green Lantern powers they do in the live action series. But to your point, talking about like curses and battlefields, some of the I think the best episode of the season one, or one of the best episodes from season one of The Witcher, is the episode with the Striga. And like that was cool. That was a really cool monster that he fought. Yeah, really good stuff. And so I vastly prefer that storyline about the fact that monsters occur naturally through curses and all these stuff, vengeful spirits and everything like that, as opposed to them being manufactured. So
yeah, and I think we will get more of that in season 2, and I think we're going to get also some of the other side of where not created, but just some of the other realms and just what else is out there other than just monsters. So, and that's exciting. I hope it takes a few seasons to get there because I want this to last. But I also know that I just read an article recently that they're not sold on season 3 yet. They haven't greenlit it yet, and Netflix is very well known for not pushing past season 3 because it gets very expensive, because actors get much more expensive after season 3 for Netflix. So if they do that, it needs to be a grand slam like Stranger Things, and I don't know if it can hit Stranger Things level. So
yeah, that's an interesting point. Like you said, the people behind The Witcher at Netflix have said that season 2 is it's big for them for it to be successful to get to season 3, and I hope it is. And I know we've pointed out some of the sort of the drawbacks of this Nightmare of the Wolf, but again, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun ride for how much they packed in. The voice acting I thought was great. We got, in particular, I want to highlight Mary McDonnell, aka Lara Roslin from Battlestar Galactica, playing Ileana. She was great.
I knew I liked her for some reason. She was so good.
It was great hearing her voice again, and yeah, and her character was awesome. A sort of complimentary piece to Vesemir, and I love their whole dynamic, and it was legitimately sad what happened between them. Even just in her letter telling him to be free of her as he goes on to become a Witcher and stuff like that. It was sad, and their story was a really strong through line throughout this whole animated movie. So I appreciated that. The voice acting I thought was really top notch. What did you think of just the characters and their portrayals?
The characters were really good at this, and that was definitely the really strong part of the movie. Vesemir, a young Vesemir, was very cool to see. Like it was talked about a lot. You read about it, and there's some of what they say he's like a MILF hunter in the books, and he shows that. So and he's very, he's usually like wearing a hat for some reason. Why he's talking about that, I don't know. It's a meme, and we didn't get that, but that's fine. But no, and just some of the other characters that they showed in this show was good to see, because there was a lot of lore behind it. It was, and speaking of the lore, we got the trial of the grasses with the young Witchers, which in The Witcher 3 in the video game and the books, they are brutal. I mean, not so much to what the show showed was. It didn't make a lot of sense in the show for how they did it. In the books and the video game, like, there's trials. They have weapons. They have some sort of knowledge of what they're facing to an extent.
It's like a lab practical for Witchers.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of kids die. Like, that is very well known. And
that comes across in this.
Yeah, and it does, but there's not. Like, this is just sacrifice. This is just like who can run the fastest and who can react the fastest, which, it is, thinning the ranks, and that makes sense. But when you're actually trying to get ability and who can figure things out the best, I don't know. To me, it wasn't the best show of the Trial of Grasses outside of the brutality of it. I mean, man, just the what was it? The race that just, like, if they touch you, bam, your body's gonna pop. Like, holy shit, that was amazing. Like, the visuals of that scene were outstanding. And
animation throughout was great.
Oh yeah, if you've been watching Castlevania, that's the type of animation you're getting. It's been fantastic. But the the actual, like, execution of what the Trial of Grasses was, I would have liked a little bit something different.
I get that, because it was really just sort of sticking them out there, and who can get away. There wasn't
like,
really
okay.
much skill involved. I totally feel you on that. I also want to shout out Graham McTavish playing Deglin. Graham, I know from Outlander fame, but he was very good in this as well. I just really enjoyed the voice acting from top to bottom. I enjoyed the animation. They did try and cram a lot in, and they definitely leaned, as we've talked about a little bit, into their almost like superhero level routes here, which does call into question certain things in the live action series. But I'm hyped up for season 2, man. Like, this definitely did the job. I go back to that opening scene of this and just the brutality of it, but incorporating the fact that there are musical elements to The Witcher that we came to know and love. Toss a coin to your Witcher, baby.
The background music to this, like, you get it in the opening, the ending, and there's some other tunes in the middle, and it just kind of, like, brings you to this. And it's weird because it's not like an era. It's just a vibe. It's a feeling of what this brings to you, and it nails that. The music is great. The other aspects of the action sequences in this are just outstanding. You get that final scene. I forget the antagonist's name.
Lady Petra or whatever her name is.
Tetra. The final battle between her and Vesemir is just oh man, it's amazing with just the choreography that they did for that, and even the sacking of Morin of the Witcher castle there. I'll get a little bit more into that after this, but there's a couple scenes in there. I mean, just flying down on I forget the creature's name, but he's jumping to each one, and it's visually outstanding, and they did a wonderful job with that. Speaking on that scene, though, the sacking of Kyle Morin should not have included monsters whatsoever. This was supposed to show the brutality of men and what they can do against something different, something like the Witchers.
Mutants,
and
bro. Stan Lee wrote about it all the time.
Yeah, no, exactly, and that's what we talk about all the time. Is there these storylines, and so it was a little bit of a cop out, I feel like, and they just kind of wanted to have a little bit more action there, and especially with how they amplified the powers, I kind of get why they did that. So it was what it was, and there is some backing to the story if they want to say, well, all the monsters died, so anybody that returned would have just been human. So, and anybody that left to go fight that only saw humans leave. So, it does make sense from like a storytelling standpoint if that's what people saw.
Yeah.
But how it actually happened, I like the idea of just men.
The one line I'll say to that, and I'm totally with you. I think not that it made it worth it, but there was sort of a line where Vesemir goes, using monsters to fight monsters, how unlike your predecessors, very sarcastically, sort of like tying that in. This is just a sort of a repeat cycle of things, and it's just going to continue happening like that. So I sort of get what they're doing in that sense. One, I want to compliment it too, is that we saw a young Geralt, but they showed a tremendous amount of restraint in not showing too much of him, because like I was a little bit worried that they were going to baby Boba Fett his ass, and and they didn't, which I appreciate.
I super appreciate it. And I love that they made him bald. It's because
now is white that because hair is that true to form and how it comes to be, or no?
I mean, but I think there is some logic behind it. You could say that the poisons that they give him probably would have made him lose hair, and then later on he either whenever he grew hair it was gray, or B, he was so ashamed of having gray hair as a child he just shaved it off. I could see either of those. So I mean, he was able to take more than most Witcher children.
Yeah.
According to the stories. So that to me, I'm like, oh, I'll write that off, whatever. And then,
okay, so I got a question for you. Vesemir breaking down crying when Ilyana dies and showing emotion, and I know in the show they sort of make a big deal that Witchers do not show emotion, or do not even have emotion. So which is it? Like, what's the deal with Vesemir and Witcher emotions?
I mean, they all the stories are, Witchers don't show emotion. They don't have emotion. But guess what? When it comes down to it, you want good characters, they have emotion. So most of the time, they end up showing emotion at some point, and that's like the breakthrough.
Now, is that
for
true
that
to the
character.
games and books?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
It's almost like Harry Potter love.
Okay, because there are certain. You're right, and where you're going with that, I would almost tie it back to like 40K and like the Space Marines, is that they are sort of genetically engineered to, be all about the mission and stuff like that. But when it came to writing books about them, well, you need some different personalities
Right.
and stuff like that. So they start
Right.
inventing all these things. Okay, so that was
Right.
a question I had. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed it. I'm hyped for season 2. See, I like stuff.
He likes
So,
stuff, people, as
you
long as he
know?
knows nothing previously about them.
Well, that's not entirely true.